The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 11th day of August, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Michaela Ian, Larry Marshall Jr., and of course, Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break. Larry, Michaela, it's hump day. How are you both feeling today?
Happy we're close to the weekend.
Well, it don't matter for the weekend when you work on the weekend, Michaela. So
Well, that's not my problem, Larry, is it?
I mean, yeah, I get you. It's just another weekday for some, but a one day closer to. Well, weekends are actually supposed to be relaxing, but regardless of whether you have a day job or not, some people end up working on weekends anyway, whether it's housework or doing stuff with the children.
I work on the weekends. I definitely work on the weekends, but I set aside a certain chunk of time, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think that's important. You have to have your time.
I don't do housework though. No.
I feel you. Good morning to everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. Another good one today as we welcome Bermuda's first Olympic gold medalist. I want to say world champ. You know, I see the word term world champ thrown around. World champ Flora Duffy to the show. The Daily Plate is a say it, don't sing it. So these guys are guessing the song to a lyric. So this song, I'm going to give you a hint. I don't usually give hints like this. The song is a tribute to our Olympic gold medalist, Flora Duffy. So that's.
Am I going to be singing "We Are the Champions"? Is that what we're singing today?
All right, so I might as well change it then. I don't know how.
I was gonna bougie walk like a champion.
Yeah.
So I had walk like a champion, but I thought that she wouldn't get it. I thought the audience wouldn't get it.
I wouldn't have got bougie. You serious?
I switched it to Queen, but I'm honestly going to switch it because you guys are just this is not what. At the end of the day, we're gonna start.
You know, this is my favorite one.
Yeah. Well, Flora, I'm sorry, Flora. We tried to dedicate this to you, but these guys just don't make it fun. They guess it so easily.
I was joking though.
Like, your jokes even got it right. Like, and I don't like this. Like, look, you know, I don't like Michaela, man.
Yes, you do. You love me, Jamal.
The crazy thing is, you got the song I chose after the song that I was originally going to choose, which Larry got, and I'm just like, what other two songs? The only other song I could have thought of was the one by the guy in court right now. I'm not going to call his name. World's Greatest. So I was just like, those are the only ones.
Yeah, we can't play that. No.
Exactly. So yeah, both of you are very good at this game. So I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board before now and later. But we have a discussion before we get to our Olympic champ Flora Duffy today. And if you haven't already, make sure you share the link. Let your friends know that we have Bermuda's first Olympic gold medalist on the show, and you all are going to be able to engage with her directly. But there's some other things that we've been discussing, and if you don't already, if you're not part of the group, in our Pure Sports Radio group, which Larry kind of oversees, and I posted something in there the other day because it seemed like it happens regularly, and he kind of broke it down. Look, you all look at me, you know, I don't know too much about. I love sports, but I'm not technical and know this, that, and the other about it. I'm not that guy that's gonna have a debate with you of how sports works, especially, you know, you asked me about a triathlon. I'm gonna tell you what I know about a triathlon because we have a Bermuda Olympic gold medalist in the triathlon. But as far as the distances and stuff, I would actually have to Google how long the run is, how long the swim is, how long the bike ride is, right? So I stay in my lane. That said, there was an article that I shared, and the article was by insider.com. Insider.com, very credible resource. It basically, the title was Gender Test Demanded for 200-meter Silver Olympic Medalist because she ran too fast, says former athlete. And so immediately for me, I looked at it like many others and we're thinking, okay, not another Black woman that's being put in a position because she's too fast. And then Larry came with some information that maybe, most people who watch from the outside don't know. But break it down, because from the outside, Larry, it seems like, what was it named? Cassandra? The one before that was always in the news?
Caster Semenya.
Yeah.
Caster Semenya. See, this is why they're here. You all know me and my pronunciation. What they just said.
Caster Semenya.
Caster Semenya.
If you can say Michaela Ian, you can say Caster Semenya.
Right, Caster Semenya. Right.
There you go.
Right. Caster Semenya. She actually has been in the news over the years.
Yeah.
Tested and so on, and now it seems to be happening with some other women athletes. And it seems optics make it seem like they're picking on a certain group. But unfortunately, that may not be the case. And it's important to have these conversations so that we're not caught just running with stuff, right?
Yeah, and I would agree. I think this case is slightly different from Caster Semenya because she will be considered intersexed, while these young ladies from Namibia are biological women. But at the end of the day, their testosterone levels are seemed to be too high. As I said on the post, is their performances raise a question, and track and field has a very checkered history, and when anyone does something astronomical out of anywhere, it's just a question that should be asked. And it's easy to look at them and say, here they go again, Black girls doing great things, and they just want to take it from us. But the progression over a 1-year period has been astronomical, and everyone in the track and field world is questioning. I don't think they should be demonized, but I think the questions have to be asked.
So what are those questions then? Because for someone who doesn't, I read things, I learn about things so that I can speak knowledgeably about it. But I'm not going to pretend that I'm like some expert in this. So break it down as to what happens. Someone runs at a certain speed in 2020, and then at the Olympics, they're running 4 seconds faster. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, so one of the athletes, she had a 25-second PR for the personal record for the 200. And this year at the Olympic, I want to say the semifinals, she ran 21.9, which broke Allyson Felix's world junior record. And if you look at phenoms, even Usain Bolt break under 15 records or under 17 record, but you saw a progression. Even when he broke the 100-meter record, it was a progression that kind of went through. These girls, there was no progression. It was extremely mediocre. For an 18-year-old girl to run 25 seconds is not anything special. Within 1 year, you're breaking world junior records and you're finishing second. And it was the way how they ran the race also. That last 50, it just seemed like, well, what's happening? So it's just asking the questions, whether it's gene and hormone testing happened early in the 1970s and 80s with the East Germans and sometimes the Chinese. So these things aren't new. We're not saying that she's guilty or anything. You just ask the questions. This could be a new phenomenon of a different type of athlete, and I'm fine with that. But I think the proper safeguards need to be there to uphold the integrity of women's sport.
Well, Carla John has a question. She's saying, can a man ever have too much testosterone?
Yeah, that's why they test certain levels to, they have certain tests to make sure, maybe not testosterone, but too much hormones in certain things, because that's why they have the testing to see if they're abnormal and whatnot.
And to see if they've been tested, if they have illegal substances in their stream.
Yes, because most people will have the substances. Do you have an abnormal level? We have EPO. That's what the distance athletes kind of use if they are doing performance enhancing drugs. But it's you can tell if your level's too high. That's how you kind of get caught. To break it down in layman's terms.
Got it. Yeah, Kels, you were going to say something.
No, I was just gonna say. So, like, if I'm a woman, right? And I'm an athlete and my dream is always to be at the Olympics, and suddenly I'm running much faster because of something that's within me. Doesn't that seem a little like why you're picking on me type thing?
I get it. And
because that's how I would feel. I would be like, I'm sorry. I'm saying if she hasn't taken anything, obviously, but like, I would be like, this is how I was born. This is who I am. Like, go over there with that. Miss me with that. This is who I am type thing. Because it just doesn't seem fair to me that someone who was born with maybe a little bit more testosterone than her competitors, it just, I don't know. I would be livid.
This situation, I feel, is a bit different. And I do feel for them because they are biological women. Whereas the Caster Semenya, as we said earlier, she's intersexed, which that brings a different element in it.
Yeah, but again, even with Caster Semenya, like that's just not her fault. Like it's just
I agree, it's not her fault. But I think, is it fair to? The question is it fair to the women who were born within the regular testosterone levels? What question is? Like I said, I don't get caught up into if it's fair or not. It's just something doesn't seem particularly follow the normal path and progression. We just have to ask the questions and get the right answers. And at the end of the day, if she just is a biological woman and has this could be a new phenomenon. It's different things in foods. We don't know what's happening, and this could be the next super athlete. I'm fine with that.
Well, let's go back to the audience. We have quite a few people with opinions and questions. Carla John asking if a man has abnormal levels of natural testosterone, does he get disqualified?
It's not necessary. I think she's focusing on abnormal levels of testosterone with men and all athletes. The difference with men is if you are testing for if it's too much illegal substances in the body that deems that you're performance enhancing.
Right,
but I
so
think
that's different.
But I think her point, and tell me if I'm understanding you right, Carla, is so I know one of the jokes Charles Barkley used to say it all the time, like he used to say that men were superior, right? And if women are really genuinely getting faster or stronger because they're doing different things, are we every time gonna say, oh, a man could be this fast, but a woman can't because of, their testosterone levels? How do we know that, it as you stated, it's a new time, it's a new era, and different habits in terms of training and eating are producing differently. I'm just asking because I don't know the science of this all.
Yeah.
But
and science reports will come out. I listened to a detailed psychology of sport podcast where a scientist broke down the Caster Semenya situation. So I'm waiting for those types of reports and the data to come out to kind of do. What we can't get caught up is in making it a meme on either side that you feel and having this emotional drive, this conversation. Right. Because at the end of the day, I think it's a legit situation where the question should be asked. And if you look at the way how she ran the last 50 meters, no one has ever seen that within sport. And in track and field, whenever something has came up with no one's ever seen it in sport, a good bit of times something has been up.
Right. Yeah. So then what happens to her medal? Do they hold it until?
No, she gets to keep her medal. She has done nothing wrong at this, you know what I mean? Nothing has been proven for her to do wrong. But my fear is the shift will be because she's banned from running the 400 to the 1500 meters. But I think the shift will now be they won't be able to run from the 100 to the 1500 meters.
All right, let's go back to the audience as we have a very tight timeline today. Jennifer Beach is asking, but what about Lauren Hubbard, the first transgender athlete for New Zealand for women's weightlifting? Is that fair? I mean,
I was actually going to bring that up.
I'm not in the business of telling you, and I think Larry already stated, I'm not in the business of getting into what's fair or not fair.
Yeah.
That's not my area of expertise. I'll let you all, if you want to answer that, or the audience decide that. But I'm honestly,
I'm not getting there today.
My personal opinion, I think that crosses the line, but at the end of the day, it doesn't. It's different. I'm not tackling that within this situation. I am tackling it from the point of within sport. Can you answer the questions of the progressions and following that?
Let's go to Bobby Singh. She says, I'm sure it goes back further, but I recall the Ben Johnson incident. And since then, the Olympic Committee is a bit more cautious. And that was just PEDs, not gender related. And then Adele White, she's asking, why is it okay for Michael Phelps to have a genetic advantage, but not others? Now, correct. You all got to come better with me, because I don't. What was his genetic advantage? That he was actually taller than everyone?
His lungs. I can't recall of
something
him,
about
but
breathing or something,
he
right?
had an advantage like that. But
help us out, Adele, please. Go ahead.
I think what we're looking for is we can make up an advantage. The African runners are born at 10,000 feet altitude, so they have a natural advantage. It's always different environmental factors or biological factors that will have an advantage. It's just, where is the line? And I think sometimes we get caught up in throwing racing there. Oh, it's Phelps. Oh, it's the 800 runner who did that and whatnot. So it's different factors for any different situation.
Yeah, I mean, race does play a part in a lot of things, and we can't ignore that. For instance, Sha'Carri Richardson got banned because of weed, and then Megan, what's her name, Rapinoe from Team USA, is promoting weed and CBDs and this and that. So it's just like, oh, so one person is banned because they tested positive, but another one is at the Olympics promoting it. Okay, sure.
All right,
but even that is different. But okay.
I know it's different. I'm not saying it's the same.
Let's move along. Bring in Liana as we go to the news break. Don't forget, folks, we'll be bringing our Olympic gold medalist Flora Duffy into the conversation. If you haven't already, because we see about 100 and something of you on Facebook, you're not going to be able to see that conversation or participate if you don't go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. So go on right now, go to YouTube, just put the Daily Hour in, you'll find us, subscribe, and that's where you'll be able to watch, listen, participate in that conversation. Lee, how are you today?
Good morning. I finally have my voice back.
Get it, girl.
It's about
time.
Even to lose it again, right?
Look.
Okay. All right, Larry. Okay, I see you.
I don't want to make light of situations here, but since did we have advantages over Liana since she didn't have a voice due to her cock match? I mean, I'm just saying I didn't lose my voice. Could it be because I was a man or because I didn't participate?
Oh Lord! Oh
man!
Hey, look, folks, it was a joke. Folks, it was a joke. Don't I don't.
Let's cancel him. Cancel him.
Cancel him.
Cancel me, folks. No. We're glad that your voice is back, Lee. And you'll be losing it again because it's your birthday this week. I'm gonna keep saying that because we need to celebrate our sister's birthday.
And it's Connie game first, though.
Yes.
So we're gonna make sure we get work out the way. St. David's.
Wow, you heard what he said? Huh? You heard what he said?
Flats.
Wow.
I don't want to talk about it this morning. Don't choose violence with me, Larry. Thank you.
Okay.
We're going to go to the news break with Liana, and then we'll be with our Bermuda. This guy really said flat. Olympic gold medalist Flora Duffy after that. Over to you.
Thanks, Jamal, Michaela, and Larry. Happy hump day to all of those who are tuned in with us this morning. I hope everyone is having a great start to their morning. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for our Daily Hour news break. So here's what's in today's top stories. The island's number of COVID-19 cases has risen to 83 after 31 new cases were recorded since last Friday, making it the highest number of infections since May. Now, the Ministry of Health said that 70 of the active cases were of the Delta variant and 2 were of the Alpha variant. The strains of the remaining cases have yet to be identified. According to the ministry, 16 of the new cases came in from overseas and 14 were on island transmissions. Now, the source of the remaining new case is still under investigation, along with 12 earlier infections. However, 19 people have recovered since last Friday. There are 3 people in hospital, with 1 in the intensive care. Now, the new overseas cases were linked to several flights to the island with a mixture of non-residents and residents. Minister of Health Kim Wilson once again appealed to the island to take precautions against the threat of the Delta variant. In other news, a head-on collision between a bus and a car on Middle Road in Southampton caused major traffic delays in the Western parishes yesterday afternoon. Now, the eastbound lane on Middle Road in Southampton was blocked to a 2-vehicle collision involving a private car and a Department of Public Transport bus. Police were on scene to assist with the flow of traffic as motorists approached the area cautiously. Now, it is unclear if anyone was injured in the crash, but images quickly circulated social media platforms showing both vehicles having sustained serious extensive front-end damage. The PGA Tour Bermuda Championship, the island's first official PGA tournament, has donated a massive $100,000 to the Bermuda Foundation, also known as the BCF. The BCF, which was set up in 2014, allows a range of donors, including families, businesses, clubs, and nonprofit agencies, to set up funds that are invested collectively for best returns. BCF Managing Director Myra Virgil said the support of its endowment fund ensured nonprofits had access to financial support to deliver frontline services during the pandemic last year. Now, to date, the Bermuda Championship has raised more than $400,000 for island charities. This year's event will be held at Port Royal Golf Course between October 25th to the 31st and feature a field of 120 players and a purse of a minimum of $3 million. And with the Olympic Games coming to a close on Sunday, recent data has revealed Bermuda has rightfully argued to have enjoyed the most successful campaign among the competing nations, with the island ranking 4th as far as all-time gold medals per capita and 8th in all-time total medals per capita. The statistics were compiled by the Top End Sports website, which said that Flora Duffy's historic gold medal in the women's triathlon put Bermuda 63rd overall. The online sports site said that for even smaller countries like Bermuda and Grenada, a single gold medal is enough to get them into the top 10. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 86 and a low near 78 degrees. We'll see a mix of sun and cloud after a possible early shower or two. Although the high pressure remains the dominant feature, a few weak troughs will filter through the area at times, bringing a chance of a few showers, mainly during the mornings and overnight. Otherwise, the dry and sunny summer weather will continue to be persistent throughout the week. That's all for our daily hour news break. Let's head back to Jamal, Michaela, and Larry in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
Thanks so much for that, Lee. Sounds like a hot week ahead.
A hot week.
It's been nothing but hot. Okay?
Listen, Jamal, I hope you're ready for this heat.
Well, it's
turned up the oven and we're falling off the bone.
Well, it's better.
I saw that one.
Falling off the bone. It's better than rain. Lee, thank you so much for that. And we'll be back with you tomorrow, one day closer to your big day. Again, folks, keep the gifts under $25. Just not that expensive.
Under 20, just what?
Look,
we gotta talk about that.
50 cents.
You're not expensive.
Larry said 50 cents. I said 25.
Don't be repeating this rhetoric come December. Because I'm expensive.
You know what? You're both canceled at this point.
Oh, gee. I was going to say give her cash under 25, but time she adds it up, she's got $1 million. But anyway, look how I saved myself. Lee, thanks. I didn't do it. Shit, nah. All right, I'll make it up to you. I'll pick it up to you soon. Thanks so much, Lee. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you later,
guys, tomorrow.
All right, stay with us, folks. We have Bermuda's first Olympic gold medalist Flora Duffy coming up. Don't forget, we have the movement moment today as Tamara focuses on travel. You don't want to miss that either. Stick with us. We'll be back. If you haven't already, go over to YouTube, subscribe. That's where you will see the exclusive conversation and be able to engage with our first Olympians. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Soltis bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days, I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
We're spotlighting our old friends Woodstock Farms, who started up 50 years ago in the belief that we need more trustworthy natural food sources. Starting with one product, their line, mostly certified organic, is now more than 250 strong in 10 categories. This month we're featuring accoutrements of the barbecue, for us the pinnacle of home cuisine and one of the few forms of restorative recreation now within our reach. Try Woodstock Organic Sweet Relish, Tomato Ketchup, Baby Kosher Dill Pickles, Sauerkraut, and Hickory and Original Barbecue Sauce. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the big show. Michaela, Ian, Larry Marshall Jr., myself, Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications Lindos and our friends over at Channel 82, where you can stream this and many other locally produced shows as well. My friends, we have a very special guest backstage. Are you ready to talk?
Listen, I put my glasses on so I can read the questions. I'm ready.
I almost feel like doing a finger thing. Like, can you see how many fingers we have?
Listen, I be forgetting to put them on, and then I'm like, wait a second, sis, you can't see.
Let's bring in Flora. Actually, let's give her a round of applause as she enters.
Yeah.
Good morning, madam. How are you today?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, thanks. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for coming. I mean, look, you know, it's an honor. It's a privilege for us to have you on, to be having this conversation and to engage with our audience. I just want to share that we've been discussing you prior and after, and our audience seems to love them some Flora Duffy.
Mm-hmm.
I admit it on Monday. And some people came at me, told me I'm not a real sports fan. But I admitted on Monday that this was the first Olympics where the only event I watched from start to finish was the triathlon that you participated in.
Same.
Obviously, Larry probably watched every event, but the reason is timing, but also I just had to witness what I knew that you were going to accomplish.
Yes.
And I am very proud to say my wife's probably, who's not Bermudian, but she was probably a little more excited than me, bragging about it while we were on vacation and so on. But to get started, she's hilarious, trust me. Just to get started, how does it feel to have won Bermuda's first Olympic gold medal?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels pretty special. I'm very proud of that moment. It's still, I think, a little bit surreal. I don't think it's quite sunk in yet. I mean, I don't really know when it will, but at the moment I'm here in Montreal. I'm racing this weekend and we have to do a 3-day quarantine. So I don't have much to do. So I think every now and then I kind of catch myself and be like, oh my gosh, like that happened. Like I won a gold medal. So that's like pretty cool. But yeah, just so proud that, you know, I got to win Bermuda's first gold medal and that, you know, so many people tuned in and watched and that everyone has been so supportive and excited. And yeah, I think that's been really special to see how much it's meant to everybody and how excited everyone has gotten.
Absolutely. So talk to us about the moment that you knew you were going to get that gold.
Well, I kind of knew with about 5K to go on the run. You know, the race had gone pretty smooth until that point, and sort of exactly if you could have asked me how would I want the race to play out to perfectly suit my strengths, and that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But with 5K to go, I had a reasonable gap. I felt pretty good, but I also knew that, you know, anything can really happen in the last 5K of a 10K, particularly at the end of a triathlon. Mm-hmm. And especially in Tokyo where, okay, it wasn't that hot and humid on our race day because it was cloud cover, but I knew if those clouds blew away and the sun came through, that could really change the last 5K.
Right.
So I just was like, just stay focused, Flora. Think about your running cues. Think about, you know, grabbing water at the aid stations, just anything to keep my mind engaged, but not thinking about, oh my gosh, you're leading the Olympics right now and you likely will win. So I didn't let myself really let it sink in or start to let it seep into my mind until about 800 meters to go. And I saw my husband, Dan, for the final time. He was out on the run course. And I gave him a little smile, and then kind of from there to the finish, just like slowly let it sink in and allow myself to believe that this moment was actually happening.
Nice.
Yes.
This Olympics, Flora, you were considered the heavy favorite, even amongst all the pundits that I witnessed in the lead-up shows, and it was a bit different from Rio, where it was maybe a group of 3 or 4. How did that affect your preparation, or did it change?
Yeah, I must say being the Olympic favorite for 5 years versus 4 is quite a thing. I don't think I would recommend it for anybody. But yeah, it definitely carried a lot of extra pressure, expectation on my shoulders the last few years. But I mean, it's just kind of something you have to get comfortable with and turn it into a positive, to be sort of going into the race as a favorite. And so I would just try to look at it as like, well, I've always wanted to be in this position, to be, able to win a gold medal or a medal at the Olympics, and to be a favorite. And so just trying to embrace all that comes with that. But yeah, it definitely took a lot of mental work and having a good team around me to keep me calm and confident going into the race. But I guess also part of me tried not to think about that and think about, putting it on somebody else's shoulders. But yeah, it's definitely quite a thing.
Yeah. You touched earlier about the race was kind of set up for you, and you recognized at 5K that things were good. Would you say that this was a perfect race for you, or did you have to make any adjustments for while the race was going on?
Well, I knew that going into this race that the swim would be a big sort of make it or break it moment. The women's racing at the moment has been very dominated by extremely fast swim and a very solid bike, which does suit my strengths. But with swim, I mean, there's 55 of us diving in together. And even if you're a good swimmer, you can still kind of get knocked about, dragged back. I mean, we're all aiming for that first buoy. It can get pretty aggressive. Mm-hmm. So I just knew I had to get out fast, and you almost just need like a tiny bit of, I feel like sometimes luck on your side, that you manage to get out and nobody accidentally hits you or grabs your suit or whatever. So once that happened and I got out and I was in the lead group of the swim and I could see who was ahead of me and that I was in a nice place, that then definitely in my mind, I could switch to, okay, I think I know how the race is going to play out. It's going to end up like this, and sort of switch to that focus mentally. But I guess the biggest factor on the day is that it was raining. And
yes,
the bike course is very technical with lots of white lines, lots of corners. Mm-hmm. And the one thing you don't want to do at the Olympics is crash. So that changed it for me. And that was like the most focused I've ever been on a bike in a race ever.
Yeah. And I would say watching that was probably the most tense. I think I can speak for everyone in Bermuda.
Yes.
Where it was tense watching you guys do, and especially going on the downhill around and like you said, the slick line. So very well done navigating that. As you finished, and you approached the finish, because I was watching, and all I'm saying is, okay, will the heat come? Make sure she doesn't, do that. And I come from running, so I was there for the 10K. But we saw the emotion, and people don't necessarily understand the sacrifice and what does it take to overcome the injuries, waking up in the morning, the tough massages and whatnot. Give us an insight on what does it take for the training to be an Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah, I mean, the training's definitely pretty intense. But I would say like my whole life revolves around triathlon. And that means my training, my rest, my recovery, my nutrition. And it's amazing how that can affect almost everything that you do. And so for me, obviously, there's not that much socializing. I don't go to hang out with friends a lot. I'm in bed pretty early, up very early, training all day. and it's pretty mundane. It's pretty much like doing the same thing every day. I mean, I really enjoy it, but it is definitely hard and definitely sacrifices that, you know, you miss out on a lot of family events, you miss out on weddings, yeah, I'm definitely known as quite a selfish person in that regard, because everything has to revolve around my training, and it's not just me, but those in my inner circle, who've sort of like, you know, for my husband, for example, like he's completely gotten on board and invested in this lifestyle. And yeah, of course, it comes with some great highs, but there's also some really low lows of the sacrifices that you have to make and how everything is just revolved around swim, bike, and run. And I think now when you add COVID into it, it's now spending time in hotel rooms, being quarantined to go to races and stuff, which is a lot of fun.
That's got to be rough, but yeah, you know, well done.
Absolutely. So I want to switch gears just slightly. So with your win, there's been even more conversations surrounding Clarence Hill and how he wasn't celebrated when he won bronze in 1976. Do you have any thoughts on how he could be celebrated all these years later without taking away from your win?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was, before I was born, where he won bronze in Montreal. But of course, I've heard about it my whole life. And yeah, I mean, I guess it is unfortunate and sad that he didn't get the celebration that he deserved. Because, I mean, winning an Olympic medal is not an easy feat. So I guess, yeah, it would be great if he could, there could be a celebration that could combine the both of us. I mean, I remember in 2018, I won a medal at the Commonwealth Games, and myself and Nikki Saunders, who also won a medal at the Commonwealth Games in 1990. I might be getting that wrong. We had a shared celebration, which I thought worked really well, and it was quite nice. So yeah, I mean, I hope that something can be done for him. I mean, it's definitely, you know, deserved to, if you've won a medal at the Olympics, to be celebrated by your country.
Indeed.
Absolutely. So obviously the island is ready to celebrate. We have had conversation on this show. There's been conversation on social media. What should we do? Is there going to be a parade? Is she going to get a house? Is she going to get cash? Like, so everybody wants to know, when are you coming back so we can celebrate you?
You know, Bermudians, they just want a holiday, Flora. But
I know. That is so funny. Yeah, I don't know what the celebration will be, but at the moment, because I didn't know how the Olympics would play out. I mean, obviously my goal was to win a medal, but I was like, if that doesn't work out, I'm going to be, you know, pretty sad and upset. So I better give myself some races after the Olympics to look forward to just get myself moving. And so by doing that, I kind of committed to quite a few races, which I'm like, oh, Flora, bad timing. And with COVID, it makes like quick travel even more difficult. So at the moment, the plan is to be back at the beginning of October.
Okay.
So it's just kind of around the corner, because I have 2 races here in Canada, which ends the series, the World Triathlon Series. And at the moment, I'm ranked 2nd. So it was definitely kind of worth my while to come here to see if I can perform well and potentially win the series, which would be great.
Yeah.
Then pretty much then it's the next race would be, or the next World Triathlon event would be in Bermuda.
Perfect. So basically we have like 6 weeks-ish to get it together.
Yeah. And then it's like a week-long celebration of triathlon.
I'm here for it. Absolutely. So you talked about how there's so much mindset. You talked about how, you know, your life, your training, it's all mundane. It's, you know, the same thing every day, but you love it, you enjoy it. So what would you say to young athletes to keep pushing and working hard if this is their goal?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a fun lifestyle, and it can open up a lot of doors. Whether, you know, I've always believed that sport is very important because it can open many doors, and that doesn't necessarily mean you have to go on to professional level and compete and race, but whether it opens opportunities in terms of, you know, going abroad for education or going abroad, traveling and going to various meets, seeing new countries, meeting new friends, whatever the case may be. But I would say the biggest thing is to do it with, to enjoy doing the sport, to do it with friends, try to find a nice group to train with, because it is quite mundane and doing the same thing. But if you're joining a nice group, whether that's like a local running club or swim club, I guess if I'm thinking of triathlon, that also really helps and can make it a lot of fun. I know that's definitely something I did this year, is had 2 friends come and train with me for the final 8 weeks before the Olympics. And it made such a difference of keeping it fun as well as like training hard. So that would be my biggest tip, is for young athletes to find a group, to keep it fun.
If you have any questions,
keep it fun,
if you have any questions for Flora, please we'll ask. We'll do our best to get through as many questions as possible. This is your time to engage. Look, I told you Bermudians want a holiday. Everybody in the comments, Florida, talking about holiday and thanks for Florida. So please know that if we got an official holiday, you have done Bermudians. This is like winning $1 million to a Bermudian.
Listen.
I mean, we love a holiday. But I want to go back because I've listened intently, and the sacrifice part, and Michaela just touched on it again. You don't necessarily, triathlon is your life. You don't necessarily get to see family. You miss key moments and so on. There's no, you can't get back time. That's one thing we learn in life. You can't get back time. And as so many young people, you run with I've seen pictures over the last couple of weeks where people who ran with you in the Front Street Mile and different things. And so I'm like, man, it's really a choice. It's not just beyond the choice. What else can get the spaces? Not everyone, as you stated, is going to be professional or wants to be professional. But when you have a certain ability, it can, I always used to tell the children that I coached in football, use football, don't let it use you, right? Use it to get a free ticket to college or relationships, something. When I look at your journey from what I know, because obviously the Port Royal fans were out there bragging about how their school's the best, and Young Get Work Academy started. Same. What is it that, and similar to Michaela's question just now, is what was different for your journey than others that you were competing with in Bermuda growing up? What was the biggest difference, I guess?
I don't know what could be the biggest difference per se, but I think for me, I've always been quite driven and quite motivated. And from a very early age, I was exposed to professional. Well, I was really into triathlon, so I was exposed to professional triathlon because in the late 90s, Bermuda hosted an ITU World Cup. So very similar to the race that's hosted now. And so I saw very early on that you could do triathlon for your living and go to all these various places around the world and race. And I just thought, oh, wow, that's so cool. So, that was sort of there. And then I suppose combined with, I guess, I don't know, had this very unique driven ability about me. But also I think I was very lucky of where I went to primary school with a PE teacher, Mr. Custodio, that was really into running. And like the running club was the main thing of the school. And we would run what we would call the short loop over recess. Recess would be like 20 minutes. We would do like a 15-minute run, and then you had like 3 minutes to change, grab your snack, and then you have to be back in class. And I just loved that. And everyone came out and did it. And then when I moved to Work Academy, it was the same thing, that there was just always, I guess, a fun club that was available that I could keep doing, and I enjoyed it. And I was constantly pushed, and the same with my swimming. And then, qualifying and be able to compete for Bermuda in swimming, but doing it with friends. And there was like some of my favorite like memories looking back. And so I don't know, I guess somehow I kind of got lucky that every step along the journey I had, someone great that was there that never said no to me, that never was like, no, Flora, you can't be doing this. Like, you're just a girl from Bermuda. This is not possible. Like everyone was like, okay, yes, like we'll support you and help you with whatever it is that you need to try and make this dream happen. And so, yeah, I definitely owe a lot of thanks to people in the local community that that helped me and supported me along the way. And it's, I guess it's pretty cool to see that it's like all paid off and being worthwhile.
I was talking to Larry Marshall Jr. the other day, and obviously he's won Bermuda Day half marathon. And you remember, I don't know if you remember this convo, Larry, you're talking to me how important diet is as you get older. And it's interesting because Nachika Trott's asking in the audience, what is your diet? Like, what is the diet of a triathlete?
I was literally just about to ask her this. So
I know everyone's always very interested in that. Well, firstly, I eat a lot. I would say that's one thing that I get so tired of. I'm like, gosh, it's time to eat again. Because I exercise and I do like 3 or 4 training sessions a day, like you really have to fuel for those. And so when you're tired and it's very hot out and you're like, gosh, it's got to eat more. But I would say for me, I eat a pretty clean diet. I don't eat a lot of refined foods or refined sugar. I mostly am vegetarian and eat mostly gluten-free. I don't like to put, myself in like boxes or, stuff I can and cannot have. But I guess, I don't know. I don't think I'm a picky eater. And then I get somewhere and I'm like, oh, maybe I kind of am. No, just try to eat pretty clean, pretty healthy, get a lot of food in. I mean, obviously like fruits, vegetables, whole grains. I eat a lot of fish, tempeh, then the vegetarian side, because getting a lot of protein in is important. So I have to have a lot of protein shakes. And so I don't know. It's not too restrictive. If I want a piece of cake or ice cream, I have it. I eat a lot of, pizza. I have,
And I often tell people, look, you can get hangry because when you're exercising, you're hungry all the time. But real quickly, you've been able to remain injury-free for a good part of your career. But this past year or so, you struggle with an injury. Touch on how you've been able to navigate the injury bug.
Yeah, the injury side of things is definitely the most stressful because, your body is your asset. That's kind of what you need. And then when it breaks down, you can't race. And then, all of my income is tied to my racing in terms of sponsors and prize money. And then it becomes very expensive going to see physios, chiropractors, doctors. Like it's incredible and how much money you have to like spend to get your body healthy again. So for me, I try to do a lot of preemptive work. And so that's what I spend a lot of time doing in the gym, trying to, strengthen my body, then spending a lot of time doing what I always like. They're like the annoying, boring exercises, but they're like the most important ones. They're like so tedious, but they really help. I guess they're one of my more like prehab exercises, the little mundane ones. And then spend a lot of time working on my mobility to, at least put my body in a good position. And then also it's about managing the correct training volume and not doing too much too soon, but keeping the load pretty constant and allowing your body to rest and recover. And nutrition is a really big, important part of that as well in maintaining, staying injury free.
All right, we have a lot of questions to get through from the audience. And I really want to get through some of them because they are coming. Karen Simmons says, would you consider becoming a coach professionally? But I want to tie that into this because during the Olympics, during your race, the commentators kept saying how you don't have a team as big as some other athletes. So Terry K is saying, what other roles in the sport that people can be employed as, like maybe bike mechanic? How important is it to have a team? And how do you feel it may have helped you or hindered you by not having as big a team as the other athletes?
Yeah, so firstly, I guess coaching professionally has never been something that's been drawn to me. But in terms of my team, when I go to a race, yes, if you look at other federations like the US or Great Britain, they send a massive team of people from coaches, various coaches, a mechanic, a massage therapist, to look after their athletes. I think in my early days, I went to a lot of races by myself, but now I'm lucky. My husband, Dan, he's kind of fills the role of all of them, which has been great. So it allows me some support when I'm at a race. And so typically at a race, Dan will come with me, and he can help with any, I don't know, more in the manager role to fill in any loose ends, if any logistical stuff. And then my sponsor Specialized, they always send a bike mechanic to all of the races. So that really helps me if there's a problem with my bike, that's sorted. But at the moment, I feel like I have a pretty good system. There's not a lot of extras hanging around that don't need to be needed. And we've got it pretty dialed now.
It works. It works well.
There you go.
Right to the top of the podium. Tanika Eves asking Flora, what can be done to better support Bermuda's athletes on an international level?
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big one. I think to race abroad and have the exposure and go to big international competitions, I mean, it costs money. So I think the biggest thing is to help athletes get on funding. No, I don't want to say easier as in it lowers the standard, but when you reach a certain level, to have funding, to receive funding so that you can go race and train abroad, or go to big international competitions. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the biggest thing, is having a bit more funding and a few more resources available to them in terms of coaching, or just like support staff. But yeah, it's not an easy thing. And so hopefully things can slowly change and we can support more Bermudians. And so to see more international sporting success, because there's definitely the talent. I think the hardest part is like converting that talent to being able to be exposed to the world and compete on the world stage.
Or there are a lot of Canadians that are saying that you're their cousin. They're a Duffy from Coral Hill. I'm a Duffy from St. Monica's Mission. I'm a Duffy from Avenue. So I'm your cousin as well. But that said, we're all claiming you apparently. But that said, what would you say to Bermudians? I mean, let's be honest. I relate it to Barack Obama becoming president. There were a lot of young Black children who had never seen a person who looked like them as president of the United States. And so when they saw that, they start believing that could be me. Clarence Hill was before I was alive as well, all of us, right? This is the first time we've witnessed something. Now we see you, and it's the sense of belief. What would you say to myself even? Obviously, I'm not going to be competing in the Olympics. I'm not. But as it pertains to, accomplishing things, your goals in life, just sign off on that note. What advice would you give, if any?
Yeah, I would say you don't need to set limits on yourself because you're from a small island like Bermuda. That doesn't mean you can't compete on the world stage. And I think so many people have followed my journey. I mean, it's been nice to see the photos of when I was like 10, 12 years old and doing the Front Street Mile for every single year, doing every local running race and the swim meets and the little triathlons. And, I'm, born and raised Bermuda bred. I just, working my way up to the top international level, and that it is possible. I think, I hope I've proven that and opened some doors. And I really, really hope that many Bermudians follow, whether it is in the sports or the arts or whatever it may be, that, we're from a small place, but doesn't mean we can't chase these crazy goals.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Before you go, on behalf of everyone, our audience, my partners, please give your husband, Dan, a huge hug and thank you from us. I know we've been going back and forth probably since the night you won to get you on, and we worked it out. So thank you to Dan for putting up with the back and forth. And thank you for making the time to engage with the audience. There are a lot more questions, but we have to let you go. But please know that if, when it's time for your parade, I'm calling it, when it's time for your parade, we'd love to have you back. So we can discuss more about your journey, because this isn't the end of Flora Duffy winning the gold. There's a lot more to go. So thanks once again on behalf of everyone at BCG and the Daily Hour, and we couldn't be more proud of your accomplishments.
Yes, and good luck this weekend.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Flora Duffy, everyone, Bermuda's first Olympic gold medalist. We're going to take a quick break with the movement moment. We're going to be back with, I have to find another song for these guys because they got it. But if you enjoyed that conversation with Flora, you're easy. Up on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, show some love for Flora, and we'll be back after this movement moment, folks. Gotta love Flora.
Movement Moment brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Together, we can illuminate your path to wellness.
Welcome to today's Movement Moment with Tamra Donnell, brought to you by People's. Tamra, what are we discussing today?
Good morning, Jamal. As promised last week, we are delving into heights, the power of travel. Travel, if you have the means and the spirit for an adventure, can be the solution to many of life's troubles. However, don't let your perfect trip be derailed by some easily avoidable mistakes. So let's just quickly run through some tips and tricks that I have, especially for women who may want to travel solo for the ultimate sort of travel to get to know yourself experience. So my first tip is do your research on the country you are visiting. Don't just go by the glossies that you see on blogs and travel magazines, what have you. Do your own research. Make sure you are aware and understand the lay of the land. Next, crime. Know before you go. This is especially for women travelers who may be traveling solo. Very, very important to understand crimes, particularly crimes against women, understand the culture, understand what types of clothing you have to pack. Not everywhere operates the way that your culture operates. So just make sure you are cognizant of what's required in the places and spaces you'll be traveling to. Next, pack an open mind. It's easy, it's light. Well, I think it's easy to pack an open mind. It might not be so easy for everyone, but to me, if you're going to go to somewhere new, if you want to learn, observe, absorb, fill your cup, it's important to go with an empty cup. Open your mind, and believe you me, your mind will expand because you went with an open mind, open and ready for different foods, cultural activities, and what have you. Thank you for joining us for this Movement Moment brought to you by People's Pharmacy.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio. Tune in every Tuesday through Sunday at 7 p.m. Bermuda time as we bring you the love, romance, sexiness with nighttime jams. Only on your station for conversations and entertainment. BCG Radio. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, sorry. Welcome back to the big show. Michaela and Larry Marshall Jr., myself, Jamal Hartman. Again, if you enjoyed that show, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Flora Duffy, thank you so much to her and Dan for joining us. Here's the Daily Play. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Michaela and Larry, are you ready? I had to switch it just now real quickly.
Ready.
I feel like we still won, Michaela. So
I think so too.
No matter what happens.
Saying.
No
We won without nothing. Like we just knew we was ready.
Cheaters. It's a say it. Sing it. Quote, here you go. You got mud on your face, you big disgrace, kicking your can.
We will rock you. You want me to continue?
Anyway, what are your thoughts on today's show?
Listen, I love talking to Flora. She is a true example of resilience. She is a true example of mind over matter. She's a true example of sacrifice. And I loved how she said, I don't have a lot of social functions. I miss weddings. I miss this. I miss that. And I love how she said, my life is a little bit selfish, but didn't apologize for it.
Yeah.
I love that because she had a goal. She did everything that she needed to do to make that happen. And we could all learn from that.
Larry.
Yeah. And I agree. It's always great to get insight when talking with a world-class athlete. I've had many conversations with Brian Velman, and with they both kind of mirror the same sort of things. It's the sacrifice. It's what you put your body through. And I knew that for a little bit, but just to see it at that next level, it's great to get that insight.
Yeah, I think that you know, from the discussion period of you know, the whole testosterone thing right through to Flora, in terms of the commitment, I want to just say, even as Michaela spoke just now, the commitment level. I encourage anyone, right? And I'm real about this. Do not start anything. Do not do anything unless you're fully committed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because that entire conversation, what I got out of it was commitment. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that goes for anything in life. If you're not going to commit yourself to, like, again, it's not easy to say you have no, like, I'm no Flora Duffy, but my personal life is impacted as well. It's key, as Michaela says, to have time for yourself, make time, right? But you see, I was in Martha's Vineyard doing this show. You have to be committed to stuff. If you're not committed, if you're doing something half-ass, you are doing yourself a disservice.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So committed.
Her message was transferable across life.
Absolutely, absolutely. Michaela, you got some inspiration for us? We had an inspirational convo, but I know you can just add to that.
I do. This is from Auntie Oprah. Ready? Forget about the fast lane. If you really want to fly, just harness your power to your passion.
I love that. Love that one.
Nice.
Well, on that note, thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, and Lindos, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. We appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Michaela Ian, Larry Marshall Jr. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, make it a great day. Peace.
Deuce.